Hi, I'm Don Drake, and this is the Sketchy GM, where I work to dispel the fog of words in TTRPG prep. I use visual planning techniques that allow the shape of my notes to deliver multi-layered reminders of my game plan. So join me as I work to improve my DMing while having more fun creating and using notes that prompt my memory at a glance. Here's a caveat on this video. I know some people have really extreme negative opinions about the use of AI, and I do use AI 2 times in very minor parts of this video, so I thought I'd warn you that. In these 2 spots, I created Druid book. In this case, I used it because it's a ridiculous level of detail. It's not necessary for the game, and almost certainly isn't going to come up, and I didn't want to spend human time, doing that. And in this case, I made a very specific, circumstantial specific choice list that I then rolled on. So 5/6 of my work would have been thrown away. Okay, on this travel scenario here, I have a cabin that can be encountered, and at the cabin is a hermit who accidentally killed a druid when he was a child. This is a bit of backstory, meaningless color. I know, meaningless color? Sure. It's not important to the plot right now, as far as I know, but the players have recently restored a druidic ritual site and got some magic items in the process. And they actually, at the site, which was a complete ruin, they found well-preserved 2 robes, which they immediately looted. I had no plans for these robes. I didn't realize they were going to loot the place, but they got them. So I made, they were beautiful robes. One of them was green leaf brocade. One of them was fine wool woven wine color, and the wine color one I said gave expertise on arcana, and the leaf one gave expertise on religion. So not combat stats, role-playing stats. This is what I like in my game, so I amped them up, and now they can succeed on those things. But it occurred to me, part of what came out of restoring the site was what happened in the past. Why was this place abandoned? Why did it go to ruin? Who were these people who had these fine robes? Past and present. I didn't think it was, well, it wasn't important at the time we were playing, so I gave him a journal for the chief druid who ran the place, and they haven't had time to read it yet. It came to me as I was designing this travel, which goes from the site down to Candlekeep, that they could come on a cabin. I think I might have rolled this randomly out of the DMG's random encounter table. I don't know. Who lives at the cabin? A hermit, of course. They're in the middle of nowhere. And this just came to me, could be a great place to backstory why the site was abandoned. The druid who ran the place had to temporarily put it on hold. It would self-sustain. Had to travel somewhere for some purpose, and while he was traveling, he was in the wilderness, and this kid basically was out on his first hunt and accidentally shot and killed the druid, and didn't tell his dad, there's a body out there, or did tell his dad, I don't know about that. But anyway, he lives in the wilderness. He's not going to travel to where and say, hey, I killed a druid in the woods. You know, he lives in the middle of nowhere. So the result was nobody knew the druid was dead. Nobody knew what he was doing. Nobody knew why he was doing it. And his ritual site fell to ruin. That's fair enough. Can I role play this? If the players probably are not going to interact with this guy. and find the story out. But if they do, I feel like I want to be able to do something more than what I just did for you, which is in plain language, out of character, explain what happened. That's my default, level of ability. So what happened in the past? We had the dad, we had the mom, we had the kid. And this is first hunt. Whoops, leaving letters out. First hunt. It was a small family. First child. It was a girl child. Druid traveling. That was gonna go to where? We'll put this over here. A druid location? Could he have been going to Candlekeep? Well, that would be possible. Let's say there is a druid circle, and I have a coastal region. There's some wild area called the Devil's Teeth, of course. I think I called it the Devil's Dice. It was a series of islands. There was stuff going on with kind of Dagon level water creatures. So there's druids out there that work with those guys. So what do we want to call that place? Circle of Dagon. We'll just call it Lovecraft says the Dagon guys are super creepy. What I'm doing is they got a right to live. They're horrifying to humans. Circle of Dagon. Why not? And this is on the coast. So that's where he was traveling. And it kind of works because this site that the characters fixed had water elementals. A water elemental, a wild water elemental that had been tamed. Stag. We got a stag here, and we got big antlers. Phew. Arrow. Miss, killed. Okay, that's that. Yeah, dead. Do I need to know anything else here? There's the deer. Okay, so what happened? Yeah, life is dangerous. This is going to be no clues as to destination. We go on as usual. This is the determination of the family. It's a life lesson. So, these people are subsistence. They don't have people travel. They're not on a road. They're in a total wilderness. Okay, wilderness. That's important. And that's why there's a guy who got killed in the woods. We don't know who he is. Okay, but out of this comes the stuff he was carrying. So this is basically a loot drop. Okay. So there's no shame here. This person doesn't feel guilty. They felt bad, but because of their circumstances, this is the lesson they learned. What are you going to do? You're going to just travel into the unknown civilization with, no money, no idea where you're going, no idea who this was, and report that you accidentally killed them while hunting for a deer? This just doesn't make any sense. So the loot drop, coin, gems, a staff, robes, survival tools, a book. Okay, so these would have been used, still used. Okay, because these became part of their possessions. It might have been an axe, dagger, hatchet, cook gear, lantern. The rope would be long gone. Those things would last. And we'll give a tea service. A nice pot and cup. Pot plus cup. Yeah, that's good. And a magic rain hat. Keep the rain off. Those are survival tools that are still in use. This is a fine robe, too fine to use. And this is a book. Don't know what the book is. Don't know what the staff is. Coin, let's say 7 GP. This is 25 GP. The players already have a staff that they got from from some frog people. It didn't have magic in it, but it's the one that got imbued with the water elemental spirit, so it's a staff of water elemental now. What else? This book is something. What is this book all about?
Well, I can't think of anything. Let's try. We're going to bring up my Notion. Here we are. I'm going to put this in here and say, no, AI, ask the AI, what is in a book on a druid's body in a fantasy RPG game? The druid was especially attuned to water. See what we get. Okay, the Druid's waterlogged journal contains detailed observations of local water sources, including sketches of underwater caves and notations about water spirits. Several pages describe rituals, communing with water elementals, and calling rain. And then I just gave him a cap of rain, so that makes sense. The book's most intriguing entries detail a hidden underwater shrine accessible only during the new moon. The maps show the location of the magical pearls that can grant water-breathing abilities when crushed. And they just fixed an underground site, so that this is especially apropos. Mysterious symbols fill the margins, appearing to be a cipher for controlling water currents. The final pages contain warnings about corrupted water sources and prophecies of a coming flood. Okay, not a flood, but I do have a pending war. Pressed between the pages are specimens of rare aquatic plants. This is really good. Okay, we're going to accept this because it ties so strongly into all the elements that I already had in the game. So this is, for now, I'm just going to say C, Notion. This is item, Druid's book. And that's what we'll call the item in the Notion database. Okay, so now from basically nothing, I know the story of what happened. It's a simple story. How this person feels about it at this point. And I understand more about the psychology of this person because they're out here. They live alone now. Their mom and dad is dead. This was decades ago that this happened. And it's just part of what they know about the world and the way they live. They still have some artifacts associated with this guy. They can part with them or not part with them, depending on how they feel. I know which ones they are currently using. So what happens in the present? How do they treat, here comes the party, PCs. Hang on a second. Do we need to know anything about what happens with the PCs? We know from the other chart that we did that a mountainous encounter based on the DMG 2024's encounter chart, random encounter chart, encounter distance to perceive in this environment is 40, 10 times 10. So we got 40 and that's 63, that's 103. That's 1,000 feet out. We're going to say this is spot the trail. They can decide what to do. They can divert and follow it to the cabin or not. What is the hermit doing? Okay, so we're not gonna directly use the AI on this, but we're gonna kind of use the AI on this. We'll go back to Notion. We'll say suggest 6 things a forest hermit would be doing on a typical day. Present the options in a number list. Okay, all right, so here's 6 things, and we will roll a d6. Number 2, tending a small medicinal herb garden hidden among the trees. Okay, fair enough. So this guy's
Tending herb garden. And okay, how suspicious is he of strangers? This is, 1 is super paranoid, 20 is always happy to sit down and have tea with a stranger. 11, right in the middle. Okay, he has seen the bugbears. Fairly aggressive. These are the bugbears in another encounter the players could have run into, who were trying to trap a direwolf cub to train it. So this is one of the reasons he's kind of unsure. So as he perceives these guys, bugbears again, that's one of the things he wants to know. Aligned with BBs, that's another thing he wants to know. The other thing he wants to know, druids? Exclamation mark. Okay, so there's 3 reasons he would be wishy-washy. Because, I mean, he's not guilty about the robe, but he recognizes pattern, okay, of the robe. And so he doesn't know what to make of these guys. Is it the bugbears? Once he determines no, are they aligned with the bugbears? And holy shit, it's druids. And I recognize that robe. So that's what's going on with the hermit when the hermit sees them, or when they introduce themselves. This ties back into a possibly earlier part of the thing, but it's also a story he can tell, because maybe they'll run into these bugbears later. I don't know what order these things are going to happen, or whether either or both of them will happen. What else do we need? So how does he... I'll just save those other... I didn't even look at what the AI came up with for the 6 things he might have been doing, but I'll use those to kind of flesh out the life of this hermit. And there we go. This is ACGC. A change is going to come. That's what that is. ACGC. Travel to Candlekeep, phase 1. And there is our wilderness encounter with a hermit. I can run that. And this a little bit messy over here. Let's shore this up a little. Tending garden, give some things some weight, and we don't know what they're doing. These are 3 perception. Oh wait, that's good. And let's group these a little bit. So this is our main encounter right here, okay? This is all to guide my eye. So when I look at this, I see groups of things. Let's also, let's see if we don't have much room here, but we can chunk this. That's my loot. It's in 2 parts. Okay, there we go. So that's less disconnected stuff, and I can we'll just group this. I got a little messy there. Now I'm starting to go the other way. I'm fine. We'll leave it there. I think I got enough visual clues that I'll be able to run this thing. All right, let me see if I can explain what I like with this style of planning. I have this right here is our encounter. This is the only thing I have to worry about as the players approach this site. I know the mechanics of how they're going to navigate this situation, what the NPC is doing, and what they're thinking when they see the players. And both these memories of the NPC, that are the filters that the NPC is viewing the players from, relate back to the story. Let's see. This one, the bugbears, is either an encounter that just happened or is an encounter that might happen soon. So it serves as a little stitch to tie the story together. And these are the concerns of the NPC. This one relates to for the NPC relates to their past story, which is over here, and the items that they collected as a result of their past story. And now they're seeing those items again on the PCs. For the PCs, this explains what they just did in 2 sessions ago, a couple of sessions ago, when they restored the Druid site. This is going to be the solving of the mystery of the Druid site. Who was the person who made it, and why did it fall to ruin? So there's all this integration that goes back into the story. As far as running the NPC goes, I have their actual story they can relate to the players, and I have their entire evolution, how their personality formed, how they are, who they are, and this makes sense to me. And as I said, the goods that they got and still use as a result of these past events. The last thing is, I mentioned these 2 tie-ins to the story, but I also have this third one right here, which opens up the world a little bit, creates a new location in the world, hints it to the players. I would have to reveal this probably through something that was carried by the druid who died. Not only that, but one of the players is a druid, and got this as a boon from some kind of entity. We don't know the story exactly. It hasn't been necessary to flesh out, but he doesn't know much about being a druid or anything about what it means. So this location could be a place he wants to travel to learn about himself, to learn about his powers, to forge a new connection to the world. Because this is, the story of how these 2 people were driven from their homes and what happens to them after they're just cast to the wilds. So I hope you also find some useful techniques here. I'm having a lot of fun with these and finding them very, very useful. Please exercise click hygiene during all your online excursions, because your attention, in combination with the algorithms, helps create the world we share. If you think this vidcast is a worthwhile addition to that world, please like and subscribe.